This is a quick live talking about the shame loop. Now, I did a full video on this yesterday, but just in case you missed the video, when I talk about the shame loop, I talk about any of those stories that halt you from forward progress. Honestly, anything that's telling you that you can't because of your past, or that you don't deserve it, or that it's too hard for somebody like you, or that who says you're going to have that in the future? I don't know that you can have that. Anything that's saying anything like that is trying to give you some shame about your yesterday. Your yesterday brought you to this moment. You ought to be proud of yesterday. You ought to be proud of what you're going through, what you experienced. Yeah, maybe you weren't as enlightened as you are now, but guess what? You endured yesterday so that you can experience today. The fulfillment, the achievement, the yeses, the understanding, the forgiveness, all those things in this current present moment came from yesterday. So you ought to be proud of yesterday, no matter what it was. Let me tell you something. I've told you many a times, I was a February 15th woman. I was got my chocolate, got my candy the day after because I was a day after woman. I wasn't the main woman. I was the other woman. I'm not embarrassed by that. That was a version of me that no longer exists. That was a version of me that had low self-esteem, low self-worth, low self-confidence. Everything about me was low. But guess what? I learned, I grew, I understand, I recognize that me was based on a lie, a shame loop that I'd been telling myself. So I couldn't get past the loop. I couldn't get above the loop. I was trapped in the loop of I ain't good enough. I changed that, and so can you. So I'm going to turn this around because I like for you to see my notes. I don't care what your yesterday was. All I know that your yesterday does not have the power nor the authority to dictate, decide, determine, nor describe your tomorrow, except that you give it that. And if you've got all that power to use yesterday to describe tomorrow, describe something worthy, describe something amazing, describe something that aligns with what you desire and have decided to experience in the present moment. I hope I'm talking to somebody this morning. I hope somebody somewhere is going to experience a space of release, because you keep staying in yesterday's shame loop and it does not serve you, does not support you. And it's your decision. I know it said, well, how do I do it? But I don't know. I'm going to tell you in the way that this acronym is, because you do not have to live in yesterday's trauma. You do not have to live in yesterday's shame. You do not have to live in yesterday's decisions and choices. You are grown in this very moment. You have the conscious awareness to say, wait, I don't like when I think about that, how it makes me feel. And I'd like to feel something different. And I think I can feel something different. I think I can decide it. Now, I might not know the mechanics on how, but I can learn that. I can learn that. So I'm going to turn this around. Good morning, everybody. This is a super quick live because I got a 9 o'clock call and I can't stick around for long today. All right. So we're talking about, I was thinking about this earlier. I was talking with a friend and we were talking about the same brain in the morning that tells you, no, don't do that. You're tired. Sleep in. Don't go work out. Don't go to the gym. The same brain that tells you that in the morning is the brain that later on in the evening tries to shame you and says, I can't believe you did it. See, it talked you out of the action. And then later on, it shamed you for an inaction. And then it repeats over and over and over. So if you know the voice is going to talk me out of doing something for forward progress in the morning, it's the same voice that's going to shame me for not doing forward progress and saying, look here, you done wasted another day. If you know that this is how the brain works, or this is how this works up until this point, and you're in a repeated loop, recognize it. All I'm asking you to do is recognize the loop, because when you recognize it, you destroy some of its power. When you name it, you shame the shame loop. Shame the shame loop by naming it. So you aren't broken the shame loop is, because it's not focused on forward progress. Here's what I mean by shame. And y'all, I did a video on this, so go to my page and make sure you watch it. And all of y'all in here, please make sure that you follow, because I got a lot of stuff like this. Y'all see all those notebooks over there? You see all those notebooks over there? You see the notebook over there? I got a whole stack of notebooks, 60 pages, and they're full of lessons I haven't even gotten to. So shame loop, stories that hinder all my efforts with lies of old programming and patterns. Shame loop, stories that hindering all my efforts. So no matter what you do, you got this inner voice saying that ain't good enough. I don't even know why you did it. It ain't going to work out. Stories are inner, stories that we've been told, stories that we believe when we didn't know we could tell a new story, stories from a overcritical parent, emotional adult in our life. Stories hindering all my efforts. You out here doing it, but you feel like you're not doing anything. You out here doing the actions and stuff, but it doesn't feel like you're making progress because the story is louder than your works. The story is louder than your works. Inner is often louder than outer. Inner is louder than outer. Inner is louder than external. Internal, external. So stories hindering all my efforts with lies of old programming. Lies of old programming. The story is just a program. Your mama has said it so many times. Your daddy said it so many times. The teacher said it so many times. You said it so many times. Not because it's a fact, but because repetition breeds belief. You heard it so much, so you adopted an old story. No, not anymore. Stories and shame stories. If you could tell yourself a shame story, you could tell yourself a success story. How do you do this? So stories hindering all my efforts with lies of old programming and patterns. How do you change this? How do you shift this? 3 C's. 3C fix. Catch it. This is where you pause and notice this same thing you've been saying over and over. This is why journaling is so helpful. Change it. Rewrite the story. If you can say it, if you can think it, if you can think one thought, you can think another, and then choose it. Take an action that supports your new story. I don't care how tiny it is. I don't care if it's this tiny or this big. I don't care if it's a molehill or a mountain. Take one tiny step, because now you have a new story that says, oh, when I almost talked myself out of it, but now I changed the story and I took a tiny action. So I no longer talk myself out of it and then shame myself for inaction. I don't talk myself out of it. The voice comes up, but what I do with it is I jump into action, because I catch it, I change it, I choose it. I choose to take a step. So the thought you catch is the loop you break. The story isn't set in stone. It's a script and you're the editor. And choice is the cheat code. I need 5 people before I go to write in choice is the cheat code. Choice is the cheat code. Choice is the cheat code in life, and you got the cheat code. Choice is the cheat code. So at any moment I can say, wait, I can choose differently. Wait, I'm choosing to choose differently. What's the difference? What am I choosing different? I'm going to tell myself a new story. I'm going to tell myself a story that supports me, that promotes me, that invites me, that loves me, that indicates that I love myself fully and completely. Choice is the cheat code. Choice is the cheat code. And you got it. You always will have it. Bye, y'all.